Hey, hello, folks. Uh, this is an odd night for us all. My name is John Pizzi. I'm not Frank Licari. Frank was busy a little bit tonight, so I'm hosting tonight here at Comedy Flow, and I'm very happy to be asked to do so. I know you're all looking at me saying, "This guy's not Frank Licari. He looks like Russell Crowe with a thyroid condition." Anyway, we have a great show tonight, and I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be anywhere in virtual reality. My name is John Pizzi, and tonight we're here at Comedy Doctors, a show where you send us your problems, and we'll give you terrible, funny advice. And we have three great comics coming on tonight. As a matter of fact, I know one or two of them. I've seen them around many, many years, and I can't wait to bring them on. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Comedy is a very strange thing, and comics come from all different backgrounds, and one of them I think it shares me coming from Brooklyn, so I'm looking forward to hear that. So I'm happy to be here. And look, there's drugs behind me. So if this doesn't go well, we could take some drugs altogether. Matter of fact, speaking of drugs, I got my first marijuana brownie today, and I tried it, and I couldn't keep it lit. Anyway, that's classic.
Couldn't keep what?
Couldn't keep it lit. Let's bring on our guests. Let's bring up one of the first guests. The first one is Jimmy Palumbo. Now, Jimmy Palumbo has been on. I'm looking at all these. First of all, what a great little resume of movies here. You guys can see it. You got Instinct and The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and Gotham. So let's bring Jimmy on. Where are you, Jimmy? There you are. Oh, we got no voice on you. Let me see.
Jimmy, you muted?
He's muted, yeah. We have Jimmy. Oh, he's still muted. Oh, that's okay, Jimmy. While we work that out with you.
You know sign language.
I have no sign language. He could play mime for a little while, and then we'll bring him back. And while we're waiting, we're working out with Jimmy on the other side. I'll bring on our next guest, if you don't mind. Now, I have not had the pleasure of meeting this comic before. However, again, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Who would not want to have worked on that show? Girl, the world.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, Jimmy. And also.
There you go.
Oh, good. You're in.
Go back to Jimmy. Go ahead. Go back to Jimmy.
Okay.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Where are you,
Sorry
Jimmy?
about that.
There you go.
Can you hear me?
Jimmy
Can you hear
Palumbo.
me now? I mean, what am I, a mirage?
You're in. You're looking good. What happened? You had a little problem with the sound thing?
Yeah. Hey, listen. Regarding Frank Licari, he can't do the show no more. There was nothing we could do about it. He bet the Packers. He's got
He's got something busy to do.
He got a little over his head. You know what I mean? So.
Hey, no more. Things happen. You look like a sportsy kind of guy. You got the hat. You look like you're ready to sit down and eat some wings and watch a game.
Yeah, I'm ready to watch, even though my team suck. But hey, Giants suck, and I'm a big sports fan. Yankees, Knicks, Rangers, Rutgers, of course. That's why I went to school. So, but
are you a Jersey guy? Jersey?
Yeah, grew up in Jersey. Yeah, lived in Manhattan, lived in LA. Bouncing around.
I'm in Jersey myself right now. I'm not far from Rutgers, Route 18, right down the road, New Brunswick. I'm in Manalapan. Yeah, right, very, very close.
I know Ed Zucker, my roommate, was from Manalapan.
See that? It's a small world. Listen, I've seen all these movies that you've been in actually, and it looks like you've had a really good career. What's going on right now with you? Anything important happening right now?
I'm working on a new HBO thing with Michael Che, the guy from SNL. He's doing a sketch comedy thing. Mm-hmm. I got to shoot again on Wednesday. We shoot. I'm very blessed because with all the COVID, productions are shut down. So I'm thrilled to death to be doing anything. It's been lousy.
Awesome. Totally. Yeah, I know it's been a strange time this last 9 months, but things are changing. I see the sun coming out, and I see it's starting to happen. By this summer, things are going to be really, really cool, Jimmy. I'm sure it's going to be better. And I'm glad glad you're keeping it rolling. You keeping it moving.
You got to qualify for your health insurance. You know what I mean?
Who needs health insurance?
That's how I view success now. Did you qualify for your health insurance?
Yeah. All right. Well, hang on there just 1 second. I want to bring on a mutual friend I think that you have here. We want to bring on our next guest. Well, going to keep you hanging there just 1 second, Jimmy. Our next guest, who I do not know, but I've heard of many times over the years, has been on many movies as well. Fred Stoller. Should I say Stoller? Am I saying correctly? Fred Stoller?
Yeah, the second one was correct.
That's correct. I usually get it right by the third, but I'm glad I got it. Fred, I'm actually a big fan of yours. I think you're originally from Brooklyn, and I believe I remember watching you on like in the Improv or one of those shows back in the late '80s when I was just starting out. And I'll never forget this routine. I never remember you saying, "I drank the milk. It's 2 days old. I don't care. I'm a rebel." That's the
Real
way. I
speaking
remember
joke.
that. Great,
Oh,
great
yeah.
jokes.
Where in Brooklyn you from?
Bay Ridge, Bensonhurst area.
Oh, Sheepshead Bay. I got turned on to comedy. I saw the accent. Billy Crystal and Richard Lewis a long time ago at Pips Comedy Club. David Brenner helped he started there. Before the comedy boom, that was the only like weekend job. Andrew Dice Clay started there. And I didn't really know much. They did have comedy nerds when I was a kid. It wasn't, it was just Buddy Hackett. And, so that's what turned me on to stand up. That one of my sister's friends said, yeah, Jimmy Walker, Freddie Prinze, they did their act at a place, the Improv. Then they go on the Tonight Show, and then they have a sitcom. So I never wanted to be a comedian. I said, oh, that's how you get to be an actor. I thought I would only have to do stand up twice. But that didn't work out.
This is crazy though, because I started also at Pips back in the day, and I remember when I first started working at Pips. I mean, this was back in the day. This is not when the father was there, when the two crazy sons were there, the Schultz family. And I remember them always saying that Seinfeld came back and worked in there, and he said any comic that kills in Pips is not a comedian. Was that true? Did you remember hearing that story?
I don't remember hearing that, but it was Brooklyn. I grew up, in that neighborhood. I remember when Saturday Night Fever came out, it was like showing how racist and small-minded they were. They emulated them more. So they were just goombas. And let me ask you something. My parents owned a two-family house in Sheepshead Bay, and their tenant used to hang out for no money, and he was the doorman. Do you remember a guy, Karate Bob?
Faintly. When I started working, he had just came in was Ray Garvey, who ended up buying the club later on. When I started doing comedy there in like 88, 89, a little bit. And back in the day, I remember Dice. It's funny. I don't want to get into long stories, but I remember Dice coming in, actually punching a hole in the wall in the kitchen. There was a Puerto Rican guy named Angel, used to be the cook there. I don't know if he was when you were there. And Dice was doing new material about cats and dogs.
George used to perform there, but that was a big deal getting a weekend job at Pips, because that was the only, before the comedy boom started, the only like paid job around New York.
It was great. I have fond memories of it all. I really do. Fond memories of it all. But I'm a big fan of your work, because I remember watching you when I was starting out, looking at, and I remember thinking the material was really well written. What was really clever about what you did was the material was really good setup punch jokes, but it was also character-driven humor that made it stronger. It wasn't like 1-2 punch, just a joke. There was a strong character backdrop to it that actually enhanced it. And a lot of good comedy, sometimes people don't realize, there's lots of great jokes, but it's much better when you have something being delivered by the person that's funny. So it's interesting.
I was very depressed and shy, and I had my head down, and that was my character. I didn't try to come up with it. That's kind of who I was.
It works. It worked for me as a kid from Brooklyn.
Thank you so
much. My pleasure. I'm a big fan of that kind of humor. And I'm sorry, I know I think I got cut off before we brought on Palumbo. Stuart Pankin, am I correct? Is it Stuart Pankin?
I worked at Pips and Sheepshead. What? Yes, Pankin.
Hi, Stuart. Where are you at right now?
Los Angeles.
Very cool. Really cool. Well, look, Stuart, anything real quick going on with you right now in Los Angeles? Busy? You working? We're having fun?
Well, thank God Steven Spielberg's flying me to Rome next week, so I'm going to do the Fred Stoller story, and then I think I'm going to go to Paris and do the French remake of Ratatouille, and then back here to do a sitcom and some voiceovers. But, it's been, thank God, it's been great.
One thing about being a comic, too, that I noticed that what's happened in the last 9 months was that they started closing the restaurants and all these things and relationships. We have to stay away from people, put masks on. The one thing I noticed that we've been lacking the most is joy. And as comics, even though we're frustrated, we travel, we get banged up, joy is what we really give. And that's the thing that we're in lack of the most today. And so to have all three of you here going out promoting joy is a wonderful thing. And I mean it.
full disclosure, I'm not a comic. I'm not a stand-up. Never did stand-up. But I'm happy to be with these guys.
You were in he was in, I remember, like one of the first sketch shows on HBO, not necessarily the news, with Rich Hall. It was, a great show. I think Rich Hall had the Sniglets, and I think Danny Breen sadly died. So was a lot of great sketch players on that show, including you.
Thank you.
Wow.
And I don't want to name.
You were great on that show. You were great on that show.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
He worked on a show where it was my first show by a showrunner, and it was a nightmare for me, the guy who ran it, when you did Dinosaurs. Maybe it was a different situation.
Oh, I'm sorry that you had a bad time. I'm very sorry.
I wasn't on Dinosaurs, but it was. Oh. Did you guys know the show Dinosaurs?
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm a dinosaur now, but hey.
It was like, did you wear foam? It was like you were like.
No. There was.
You look like shit when somebody comes up to you and says, "Did you do an episode of Mannix?" I'm like, "Nah, it wasn't me. Different guy."
Dinosaurs. There were 3 people doing it. There was a guy inside the suit, a guy working the animatronics, and the voice guy, me. So people. So I was never in the suit. God forbid. But the guy who was in the suit, Bill Beretta, is now a big producer at the Henson Company. So it worked out good for him.
All right.
That's awesome.
No.
Well, let's begin. So we're going to be talking about helping people by giving them funny advice. And I know, like you just said, Stuart, that you're not a comedian, but I think you're a funny guy. You've been around a lot of funny people for a very long time.
He's already passed the test so far.
I think we're all becoming.
I'm honored to be on.
Yeah.
Let's bring up. We have some emails, and these emails are questions that are people asking. So the first one coming up is, my wife has been wanting to go on a diet for a while, and she asked me to do a diet with her for moral support. Fast forward a week, and she says to me, drinking juice that tastes like sewer water and eating bowls of what is equivalent of a sand and Elmer's glue. I don't know if I can make it another 3 weeks. Am I a bad husband if I bow out? And this is from Walken in Indianapolis, Indiana. Should he bow out? And let's start with you, Fred.
Well, I'm going on a tangent. I visited a friend who has chickens a few weeks ago with a mask, and they were so cute. And I said, I'm not eating chickens anymore. They ran up to her. They let you pick them up. But I had a cave because I got tired of the just shrimp. So it's hard. I think if you're not killing the stuff, I have no relationship advice. I've never been married. So, I just, when things get stressful, I nap a lot. But one thing I noticed in the thing, I still get confused, is the word a while or and a separation with the while. So maybe this isn't good advice.
We can pull that email back up and clarify.
This is like when you're ordering at a restaurant before the pandemic. It's like, I hate going first because I want to rip off your ideas. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure what to get, and you skip me, and then I could decide better. So I don't know what to eat.
Fred's all about taking us down with him in the sinking ship. I appreciate that. When we're all in that water.
I'm a bad starter.
How about you, Stuart? What do you think?
Oh, no, he's a bad husband if he quits. And he absolutely should support his wife. And some sand and Elmer's glue is actually, it's been proven to be fabulous fiber. So it can't hurt him. And I think he should support his wife. And even if he goes out and eats that crap and then vomits outside, come back and says, honey, I'm with you. That's what's going to keep that marriage together. And she's going to love him for it. And then when she gets thinner, and they're more attractive to each other, that's a big plus.
See, so you are actually so right, because I think, well, what about the guys that actually go out and they make believe they're on a diet, or both people quit smoking, and then suddenly one of them is like outside eating cheeseburgers and the other one's losing the weight, and it's clearly that the other person is not over time. It's like a person's cheating behind their back on their diet or smoking or whatever their vice is.
Well, if you're a good cheater, then that's okay. The problem is that when you start blowing up. See, food to me is is terribly unimportant all my life. I just needed
Seriously.
to keep skin on my. No, I'm a big guy. I
I
eat.
was going to say, wait a minute. You don't look like you're fainting.
See, that was the humor.
That's the humor portion. He's doing it with a dry thing. I appreciate that, by the way. How about you, my friend Jimmy?
Listen, I would go right up there and say, listen, I'm so sorry you became a fat bastard. There's nothing I can do about that. I'm eating seaweed here. I support you, but I'm gonna eat my Taylor ham, egg, and cheese, but I'll eat it outside, out on the deck, and I'll support you, but I'm not gonna eat this stuff. You can't. That's no good. You can't do it. And she should love you back for that, knowing that you were honest with her and saying, I cannot eat this seaweed, and why don't we go for a jog or we'll go for a walk, but I'm not going to eat like this. No good. Otherwise, you have regrets.
I love that being honest thing. Like, that's like when the woman comes over, your wife says, do I look fat in this dress? And there's actually no answer at all for that. You're going to be honest or you're not going to be honest?
It all depends if you're fat too. Now, if I'm overweight too, then that's a problem. Then she can say, well, you're going to drop dead of a heart attack. But if you're in decent shape, you got to tell her, listen, you picked up a few pounds. Why don't we go to the gym or something?
I don't know, boy. I got to tell you, when it comes, I do a lot of put down humor, and when you do interactive humor, the things that you don't like lay on is usually overweight women or ugliness in women. Yeah. Or illnesses. Those three things, like all off the charts.
I didn't pay attention. Is he in good shape and she wasn't? Or were they both overweight?
Did not say.
I didn't say.
My cat is over here, and this happened. My first cat was a little overweight, and I had to bring it to the vet. And I said, is he overweight? And she said, no, he's fine. And the vet was a little bit overweight herself. Then the next year I came back, the vet lost a lot of weight. She goes, your cat is too heavy. So when she was overweight, my cat was fine.
You know what the worst part is? Bringing a cat to the vet when they have tinsel hanging out of their butt. Try explaining that to a dog or a cat to the vet. You ever try that? Like, trust me, it just happened. They must have ate it. It's halfway out. It's like you can't take it out.
Christmas tree or something?
Yeah, Christmas tree tinsel coming out of a butt of like a dog. You go in there and, or if they eat a condom and it's coming half out and they can't get it out.
That's good fiber too, so don't worry about it.
I guess vets have seen everything.
That's the truth. Let me bring up, all right, that was pretty, we get to see the cat? All right, let's see. There you go.
What a fat cat.
That's very funny that you are funny.
I knew eventually we'd talk about pussy on the show. I was waiting for that one.
And Stoller said he wasn't getting any.
All right, next email.
Let's bring up the next email. Go ahead. The next one is, do you have an annoying neighbor? I bet he isn't anything like the Vic. That's right. He calls himself to that. In addition, he plays his music extremely loud at night. Disco. He plays freaking disco. To top that, he acts like we're friends and comes over uninvited to tell me stories of his days when he managed a Red Lobster. Seriously, I can't take this whack.
The good old days. Now it's past them,
Stella from Aurora, Illinois is asking, what do you think we should do with Stella? How about you go with you first, Fred? Once again, we want to put you right up at the top where
I am the worst with confrontation. I can't stand neighbor noise, and my bathroom shares it, and it's very hard for me to do it. But it sounds like whoever this is, you're friendly enough where he's coming over and telling stories. Then you could go, hey, come on. But if there's some asshole that blasts music, that bass bum 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 bum. I had this one neighbor when I first moved to West Hollywood. He used to go, shut up through the door. And then I'd see him at the mail and I go, I'm sorry, because that wasn't me. And I know he was screaming at me. So he was nuts. And then one day he banged on my door and left a trampoline. That has nothing to do with this. But I would say, since he sort of comes over, he's not that adversarial. You know what I mean? The worst is when they're just I'm not going to do what I want. I pay my rent. So I would rather have, I live on the corner. I'd rather have cars and sirens than hear every person. I used to live next to this guy that would blast. The TV was right there. And tonight on Nightline, and I knew he was Orthodox, so I asked this comedian who's very Orthodox, what's an expression? Hill says, I tried leaving Jewish expressions of peace on his door. And so I would say, tell the guy, come on. Yeah. It's not that funny, but I think it's a good answer.
No, it doesn't have to be funny also. It's interesting. I love Jewish humor, by the way. A guy walks into a
My favorite work. Joke is this describes me. These two Jews are about to be executed. One says to the other, maybe we should ask for a blindfold. The other guy goes, Murray, don't make trouble. So I'm that guy. Like if my agent says, I'm asking for more money. No, they'll take the job away. Give me, I'm always afraid of making waves. So that's why.
Fred, you're gonna love this, Fred. There's a Jewish guy. It's Shabbat, Friday night. He's coming home. He's flying into Britain. He flies into Britain. He gets there, and suddenly he's dressed in his best clothes. He's Orthodox. He's got the hat. He's got the white socks. He's got the long coat. He's going to check in. It's 4:00, and he says, I got to get here quick so I can go to shul for Shabbat. You want to make sure that he's all covered up and goes right to the shul before dark. In front of him is a beautiful waitress, a girl who flew on the flight with him. She's beautiful, blonde, what a body. She checks in, turns around and looks at him and stops and goes, oh my goodness. She goes, hello? And he goes, hello? She goes, I have a confession. He goes, what is it? She goes, I always wanted to have a sexual type fantasy with an Orthodox man. He goes, really? Continue. She says, I want to just take off that yarmulke and rub my fingers through your long beard and pull down those white socks and take off that coat, rub you on the back, and get down to that special place and massage. She goes, I just checked in. I'm in room 222. What do you say? As soon as you check in, you come upstairs. And he says, so what's in it for me?
And then what did she say?
That's my new favorite Jewish joke of the week. All right. How about you, Jimmy Palumbo? What do you think about that email?
Now, listen, the guy, he worked at a Red Lobster. I would just move out. I can't be anywhere near a guy with Red Lobster. Come on now. I'm out of there. I mean, it'd be bad enough it was imagine if it was Olive Garden or something like that. My God.
But I want to know what his glory day stories are.
You call up your landlord. You say, listen, the guy works at Red Lobster. I'm out. You got, and you should get all your full rent back for 6 months.
You're right. Red Lobster. What do you think, my friend Stuart?
Well, I think what Fred said was great. I also despise loud neighbors, especially if they know that it annoys you. But like Fred said, he's apparently not that confrontational. And I think the first step would be go over to say, it's really loud. If you could just tone it down or stop it at 10 o'clock or whatever, that would be great. I mean, I've had so many bad experiences in my life with people who have been rude or noisy and have come up to, like in college, the guys would blast music and I would go to the room and I'd say, could you just stop that? And one guy turns to the other guy and he says, turn it up. And he looks at me and says, isn't it terrible when you know you're right and you can't do anything about it? That's true. And that's affected me my whole life. And I'm very sorry that happened. So I am really intolerant about noise. In fact, we have some lovely neighbors who were, when they first moved in, were very loud. And I called them a couple of times when they had, loud parties late at night. Nobody cares about me. But the fact is, I think what Fred said is right. You go up, you're not that confrontational. Go up and talk to the guy. And what a fat cat. And just ask him to quiet down. And if not, then you get your buddies from Red Lobster and you beat the shit out of them.
We always go to the end. We have to go right to the end. Beat the hell out of them. Who cares? Move on. Neighbors are a really funny thing too, though. I mean, years ago I lived in Staten Island, which, yes, I'm bragging about Staten Island, and which is the gateway to Brooklyn and Jersey, and the world's largest landfill. And I remember I lived in a townhouse at the time, back in the early '80s, and we had neighbors on both sides of us. And the last thing you want to do is become friendly with those neighbors, because when you become friendly with neighbors, what happens? You start like seeing each other, you're kind of really cool, everything's really going great, and then suddenly what happens? If there's one little conflict, now you got to look at these people every day in a whole different light. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could be friendly, and then all of a sudden things start turning sour, and everything that you relationship that you made is all gone and destroyed. So I now live in a place where I don't know any of my neighbors, and I'm very happy. As a matter of fact, I'll move to Wyoming and be far away from many people and be just as happy. Who wants to be a people person at your home? You want to be a people person when you're out working, you know? Not that I don't like people. I just don't want them next door to me.
No, John, I can't wait to meet you and then avoid you because apparently you have a very strong philosophy.
Get online. All right, let's bring up our next email for you folks. Let's see. Here we go. This one is, I have a friend. She met a guy who is awesome and wants to date him, but he is technically in a relationship with someone else. Karma-wise, is this a friend of mine in the clear if she's casually seeing him? Technically, she is not the one cheating. He's going to hell, not my friend, right? Naomi in Yonkers, New York. So in other words, she has like a dilemma. Let's switch it around and go. Let's go right back. I'm gonna take Fred off the hook and we'll go right over to Jimmy. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Well, what the hell does she care? You know, a win's a win. You know what I mean? Nobody cares you beat Fordham by 3 in November. You got to try to make the tournament. It's all about your number. How many? You know, she's just trying to get some, you know, some action, and she's not going to hell for that. You know what I mean? She could always say she didn't know. I say get the win, move on.
Yeah, interesting. How and what do you think, Stuart?
No, she's got to respect her friend. Don't do that. You got to live with herself. It's going to come back and bite you sooner or later. It's a question of ethics and morality, and you don't want to mess with that. You want to try to, when you look at yourself in the mirror in the morning to shave, if she shaves, you want to think of yourself as a nice, decent person that's not going to break somebody up or make somebody unhappy. Or she could, like you, John, move to Wyoming and not have to see her again.
Yeah, it's funny though. You're taking the high road. I really appreciate the high road. He's taking the spiritual path over there. That's very nice.
No, just being moral and doing the right thing. I mean, that's the only thing you can do.
Well, I was assuming I'm next, so I should.
Yes, you are. You are next.
All right. I don't want to. Wait. So I got a little confused. She's cheating on her friend with her friend's boyfriend. It went quickly.
Yeah, I got the impression that she has this guy is kind of coming on to her, but was dating this other guy, but that guy believes it's over, but the girl doesn't. That's the impression I was getting. If that makes any sense.
It still will hurt the girl's feelings if she found out, or yeah. So, and they're friends, the girl?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. My straight answer is it's not cool. My funny answer is it's not cool. Funnier. They're different. If you analyze the two answers, one was funny.
I didn't realize that you stutter also.
Yeah, learning new things.
All right, let's see if we can bring up another one of these emails. I like, who's writing these emails, by the way? That's really fun.
The producer of the show, I'm thinking.
You think so? I mean, if I was writing...
Are they real? I don't know.
I don't know if I was going to be writing them, they'd all have like ethnic and sexual connotations to them. They wouldn't be just generically.
Like arbitrary cities. Chula Vista, California.
Yeah, I never heard of it. Never heard of it. This one is, lately I've been having nightmares. It's usually the same scenario. I hit on a woman at the bar whose face is unseen, and she says she's married. This is followed by the Jerry Springer calling me a loser from across the bar, and then me drinking in the corner while the Baywatch theme plays on a jukebox. Any idea what this means? Oh, God. He's drinking heavily. That's what this means. All right. Well, go ahead, Stuart. Go ahead.
No, I have no idea what that means. It's just no idea. I think if that's a real email, she made it up just to get on the show. That's what I'm thinking. I think that is impossible, especially if it's a recurring dream.
Yeah.
She's
recurring dream.
She's lying. She's lying through her drink.
Okay. Drinking at the bar. What about you, Fred? What do you think?
You know, again, I'm nervous. I got to get tested for dementia because I can't follow any of these scenarios.
It could be the way I read the questions with the squinted eyes.
Even if I studied it maybe for 5 minutes, I can't follow any of these.
Maybe you should all write an essay. We'll write an essay and we'll send it into the show, and you can read it next week.
My retention, I'm getting nervous that what? So this guy has a dream that he hits on a woman he can't see, and then he's on Jerry Springer, and that's all I followed, and he's had this dream a lot. And what does it mean? Yes,
I don't know. Third base.
Don't eat a cheese for going to bed.
I don't want to interrupt, but obviously the faceless woman represents humanity. It represents the unknown of humanity. Springer, think about the word spring. Spring. He's springing from woman to woman. All right. So he springs from woman to woman, looking at faceless humanity, just trying to get laid. And I think the basic, the premise of that dream is that he shouldn't eat big meals before he goes to bed.
Wow, that's a deep dive. Well, and in between that, we're all going to read the Bhagavad Gita and Om tonight. That's really great. I love it, Stuart. Stuart's a deep guy. I appreciate that. I really do. Hey, how about my friend there in the hat? What are you? Let's go. See, by the way, that's total opposites right now between you and Stuart. That's really nice because you're like the gruff guy hit it out of the park, and Stuart's over there oming. This is beautiful. Go ahead.
I would
hit it out of the park too, you know.
I would probably pull a Dr. Phil and just point to her drink and say, "How's that working out for you?" I mean, you know, I think the Baywatch scene bothers me the most. That would give me nightmares. I would wake up immediately. You know, that would just drive me nuts. It'd be worse if you were inside a Red Lobster with the Baywatch theme.
No, Baywatch obviously represents water, the movement of life, where life came from. Baywatch, watch the water. It's so clear to me.
It's clear vodka water.
Just like the word stew and art. It's like a student of art.
I never thought of that.
I'm following your train of thought. Following the train of thought. Actually, I had the same connection too that you had, Jimmy, about if the guy's working at Red Lobster. I mean, all these things are Red Lobsters, the '80s. It's Jerry Springer. This is all like kind of pop culturally kind of stuff. Very nice. And there's no politics here. Isn't that nice? Nobody's angry. Nobody's arguing about anything here. Look, isn't that beautiful? We're not just saying who should win and who shouldn't.
There's still time.
Wait a minute.
Red Lobster is a red light. Get it?
Ah, yeah. There you go. And you're in LA, so I think I know your stance. So let's bring up our next question or email rather from this queer person. Let's see. This is another one. All right.
Follow it.
I had the first date the other day. So this means it's probably a young person. We really hit it off. So much so that she invited me to stay the night, but I played it cool and just kissed her goodnight as I dropped her off. When she got out of the car, I released the gas I had built up from the Mexican food we ate earlier. And out of nowhere, she comes back to the car. She's left her umbrella. She opens the door, looks at me, snatches the umbrella, and darts off. Now she won't answer my call. That's Maddox in Fayetteville, North Carolina. By the way, who pumps up on some heavy-duty Mexican food before a first date? That's like, you know, it's almost like the old thing. I was at the Friars Club a million years ago. They said, listen, I think it was Stewie Stone said, whenever you take a leak after a show, you never go over to the urinal. You always go in the door and close it. Because if you piss somebody off during your act or somebody, they could come over while you got your penis in your hand and peeing and like grab you, punch you, hit you. But if you're in the stall, you're independent of the people. And I thought, wow, what brilliant advice from a comic. That's the greatest thing. Now, this is the same.
You spend a lot of time in the stalls?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because when you think of stalls, you think of cars stopping, things beginning, things ending. You know, that's the reason before it. So why?
My question is, isn't there a pandemic? How are people dating and kissing? And I don't understand, but.
I was talking 8 months ago.
Oh, this was 8 months ago. Are they still trying to figure this out?
Well, they also discovered that flatulence does kill or hurt COVID virus. So, I mean, they were both safe.
Yeah, there you go. You know, that's another thing with the COVID. Everyone says wear the mask, right? So if you're going to wear the mask, but if I sit there with you three guys and I fart, that farting gas goes through my underwear, my jeans, rises up in the air, goes through the mask, and you smell it. So that COVID is very powerful stuff that it could actually, it's not as powerful as my fart because the fart will actually get through the mask, but the COVID may not. So it's a really amazing thing. Gas is much more of a danger.
I think
the guy did nothing wrong. He did nothing wrong. The rule is once she leaves the car, you can release the gas because you know what? She almost shit herself when she left the car, but she don't tell you that she's outside. So once that door shuts, that's it. It's like a cage match. You let it rip. You got to tell her, listen, you left the car. Legal. That's a legal passing of gas.
I think we should all be a little more tolerant of bodily functions, burping, farting, nose picking, ear picking. I think we all have to accept the fact that we're all animals, and if we all do these things, then it shouldn't affect a romantic entanglement. I think it might enhance it and as a matter of fact, I read recently that flatulence, a lot of it shows that you have a good intestinal tract. That's true. So she should hook on to this guy because she should know he's not going to be sick.
Could be. Things are passing through.
Maybe she thought he was going to steal the umbrella. Maybe that's why she got mad.
Wait.
Hey, Fred, you need me to explain it? So the guy was in the car, then he farted, but then she came back in to get the umbrella, and now she's not calling him back.
So he's saying, what should I do? What should he do?
Well, he's presuming she got a whiff of that.
Yeah, well, you can't. She doesn't want to see him. I mean,
but she couldn't see her face. Her face was unseen. And then when she got home, she watched Jerry Springer.
Yeah.
And she ordered some lobster.
Jerry Springer. She's on Jerry Springer. I'm mixing them all up.
What about the Chi-Chis in the 80s?
Remember
Chi-Chis? Oh, I spent some time. We had a Chi-Chis by us.
Tony Roma's, do you remember that in Manhattan?
Yeah.
To me, that was one time I offended people because this comedian, his girlfriend made chicken for us. And I went, this is as good as Tony Roma's. And they said, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? But I was impressed that they made chicken that sounded like Tony Roma's. But I think if she doesn't want to see him, what could he do? Like stalk her and go, come on. Just I don't know. But I don't. This is crazy.
It's a silly question, but this is stuff. This is stuff that happens to people every day. This is serious stuff. Actually, these things happen. People wonder, like, what should I do? I got, this. I don't know about you guys, but when I was a young guy, I remember they used to have this old lady. They used to write in the newspaper, in the Daily News every day. What was her name? You guys know, Dear Abby.
Oh, Dear Abby. Yeah, Ann Landers, Dear Abby.
Yeah, exactly. Remember those? And it was the same thing. They had all these serious questions that she would answer.
Issue when I would date when I was younger. I mean, it's, I'm using COVID as an excuse for the dry spell. But when you're at their place and you need the bathroom for that, and you flush first as you're going so they don't hear it. And then they wonder why you're flushing again. So I always have that self-consciousness if the bathroom is close to where you are. And Nick DiPaolo had a joke I'm not going to do justice to, that you get older and you meet a woman at a bar, but then the Cinnabon kicks in and you're cock-blocked by the Cinnabon, I think. Like you rather go home and take a dump, so something like that.
Hey, listen, at my age, I'm thrilled it's just gas coming out. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's a win right there. I'd be thrilled to death when she opened that car door.
Yeah.
It's so funny too, though, because you guys, and I know maybe, well, even as an actor, you would probably get this as well. How many times did you ever go to the bathroom and take a leak, and you come back and somebody's like, you got some dripping on your pants? That's another thing. A lot of comics to say you never take a leak before you do your gig, because you could go on stage with a wet spot, and if you spill the drink, if you're holding your drink and you walk on stage, people think that you peed in on your pants. That's one of those silly things too that happens to performers all the time. I've had it happen.
Like you can't wear beige slacks when you do comedy.
There you go. Or dark jeans. Probably a better thing. But how about this? You're on stage and you're doing your act and you have to get a strong laugh to let some gas out.
Yeah. I've never farted on stage while performing. I don't have the confidence.
You don't have the confidence.
I've always, yeah, people have been afraid of what if you need to go to the bathroom and you're doing a long set. But yeah, you somehow it works out. I don't think anyone's ever taken a break. I
I
used to
have.
I used to open for this guy. I won't say his name, but he would. I'd have to introduce him, and he'd be in the bathroom, and I'm up there killing time for 10 minutes. So, yeah. Did anyone ever have that, where you introduce the guy and he's not out for a while?
Yeah,
The headliner.
That's never happened to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never had it, but I had it happen once where I had an upset stomach. I found out years later in my life I was allergic, not allergic, I guess not allergic, but like reactive to cream cheese and like curds and whey kind of stuff, like cream cheese.
Lactose intolerant.
Yeah, kind of, but not 100% because I could eat ice cream and I'll be fine. But if I eat like cream cheese on a bagel, 40 minutes later in the car, I'm in trouble. So I was doing a show at a private holiday party in a bar.
Factory.
What's that?
A comedy club called the Cream Cheese Factory.
Yeah, there you go. I did a show at a holiday party, and in the middle, and I was killing. It was good. I was supposed to do an hour, and in the middle, like 30 minutes in, I'm killing. It's destroying, but you could just you feel that whole thing going on, and all of a sudden, I ended off in a big joke, and I said, "Hey, we've been sitting here laughing. You guys are great. Let's all take a break, and when we come back, we'll get some drinks, and we'll come back." That was my guys. So they said, "Okay, yeah, great. Everybody thinks cool with it." And I'm thinking, I'm running to the men's room. So I run over to the men's room. Now there's a line of people trying to go in there. And I go to the bar and I'm like, "Do you have another one?" And the guy goes, "Yeah, upstairs we have a private." And I'm like, "Great." And I'm running upstairs to go to the bathroom. And this is a human condition. It's disgusting, but it happens. People have a.
It's not disgusting. We all go to the bathroom.
Okay. Yeah. It feels not right in showbiz. It feels not right. You know, I like him. He's a reality-based guy. I like that. He goes, nice reality.
I just quickly, I was doing a show in New York, and there's big music on the Last Dance number, and I knew that I was in trouble. I had to go to the bathroom, and I just walked off the stage when the dance number started. So we've all been there.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed of it. I have gone to the bathroom before. I will go to the bathroom again.
Yeah, it's true, and he's a realist.
It's true.
And I appreciate that. And potty humor is not. I don't like talking about potty humor. It's not number one. It's number two. All right, so let's bring up. That's really sad joke. Bring up on the next email. All right, it says, "I've been looking for a part-time job to help supplement my income I lost during the pandemic. My friend's sister is an assistant manager at a party store, costumes, birthday party supplies, etc. The problem is I have globophobia bad. It's a fear of balloons. Now I'm not joking. What do I do?" I think you shoot yourself. That's hilarious.
Hey, listen,
The party stores don't want to work.
You have no idea how expensive those balloons are at those party fair places. I went in there to get a couple of balloons for my daughter. They're like $11 a piece, and they make you wait. You got to pick a pain in the ass. I miss the days with the clown, and they do the quick balloon. You're on your way. Now they wrap you. It's a lot of money.
It's true. Very true.
Well, I want to look that up to see if that's a real thing.
Economy lesson.
What is balloonophobia? What is it?
What? Let me tell you. You guys.
What the fear is? What the technical fear is?
Well, I thought it's afraid of fear of balloons.
Yeah, but what's the name?
I don't know. I don't know. The name is gone. If you want to bring up the email again, we can see it. I think it was balloonophobia or something like that.
No.
What was it? What was the word, Stuart?
Globophobia.
Globophobia.
I know her father used to work for Goodyear, but I don't know if that's. I'm here all week. 2 shows on Saturday.
Can you put that email back up?
Can we put the email back up? I'm sure they could, but
I want an answer to this.
Because Fred wants to actually start researching it on the internet
to see if there's a real thing. There probably is, but it's too much of a coincidence. You have this rare thing where you're afraid of balloons, and that was the job offer you got.
Oh, there you go. Okay, it's globophobia. Go ahead, look that up. Globophobia. Apparently, it's a fear of balloons. By the way, you spent $11 for a balloon for your kid. You could buy a condom for like $3. What a difference, right? What a world.
Fred, it's globophobia without an E. Globophobia.
The ending of Wizard of Oz must freak her
Pierre
out.
just flushed globalization, balloon. Okay, there's such a thing as balloon phobia.
Yeah.
Is this a real problem? Wow, sorry. Sorry for taking it so lightly.
But there's got to be a phobia for everything. I mean, somebody's got to be afraid of everything. I mean, some people are afraid of everything. Just like in the world, people. I mean, I think about this all the time. I look at this coffee cup and I say, somebody's working on a better coffee cup. Well, the opposite of that is that there's somebody who's afraid of this coffee cup because they've got Starbuckophobia. I don't know, but of course, being afraid of balloons is something. Being afraid of ants, being afraid of heights, being afraid of dogs. I mean, there's all kinds of phobias. So I feel sad. I feel bad for the guy, but that's not the job that you want. A place with balloons. Afraid of balloons.
I have a fear of comedy that's streamed online, and I'm dealing with it. Fred, that's not a problem for you, but I'm just saying that I'm picking on Fred for some reason.
No, I deserve it.
Fred, I'm picking on you for no reason. I can't pick on Stuart because he'll get a holy roller on me, and he already hates my morals.
I will condemn you in eternum. That's all I'm just saying. Just saying.
But I love you even more now that you got the shits on a Broadway show. That's awesome.
What Broadway show was it? I'm curious.
It was Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Classic.
It was the first. It was the first New York production. It was great. It was great, except for the intestinal problems.
I thought it was a river runs through there. I thought that was what they were.
Oh, no. It was Joseph. Oh, I get it.
Yeah, you got it. That's a dirty crack. All right, I think we have time for one or two more, maybe just one more. And by the way, the balloon. Who knew about this balloon stuff? That's wonderful. Correct. Now we've learned.
We learned something.
And I have to tell you, I'm not the host of the show generally, but I got to say, I watched the show and I've been on it. This is the most eclectic group of guys I've ever seen. It's such a diverse group of people. That's very funny.
Somebody has a fear of eclectic people. See, so it all ties together.
It's another thing.
Let's bring up another email if we have time. Let's take a look and see what we have. All right. I am the world's greatest country singer, yet no one has heard of me yet. I mean, quite frankly, I got the good stuff. Problem is, I need a manager, and I can't find one that doesn't specialize in clowns. I feel bad for that world, as everyone on land and sea is being deprived of not hearing me. Seriously, I got the good stuff. This is a guy in Miami, Florida, who believes he's God's gift to country singing, and he's big. Now, by the way, this sounds like any comedian, because I've heard so many comedians say they should make it and move on and get it. So, all right, go ahead, Stuart, with your holy.
No, I think the guy's an egomaniac. I think that he should just, stop, take a look at himself very carefully in the mirror and say, why don't people, first of all, why don't people think I'm the greatest in the world? Second of all, why doesn't he do something to get an agent, to get a manager, to get a gig in a, is that right? The word gig, is that what you guys say? Get a gig in a club or in a Starbucks. Or my cousin used to do that. He used to play the guitar and he worked in Starbucks. I mean, I can't say that he's good or bad because I never heard of him, but I'm guessing that kind of attitude is not a real healthy attitude, and he should maybe take a look at himself and be realistic about his talents.
I think he's right.
When they were storming the Capitol, they actually played that guy's music, and that pushed him way back. His last name is Flickalito. When's the last time a country star's last name was Flickalito? Ladies and gentlemen, Dolly Parton and Flickalito.
I think he should rehearse in a balloon store.
There's a good cross reference.
Yes.
It's true, though. People that are usually egotistical and narcissistic that are in showbiz always think that they're getting the short end of the stick, and sometimes they may not be as talented. However, there are talented people out there. I guess the advice would be humble. Be humble in the beginning and try to.
You ever talk to a comedian? All they do is say how they killed. I kicked ass. I did great. I hate that. I like the comedian that does really well because you heard the audience.
When I
come off stage say, I did lousy. I don't know.
I don't do stand-up anymore, but I would do a set, and people would have to convince me I did good. Really? And, or you did good for the group.
I agree with that. I mean, I'm not comfortable with a performance until people tell me that they like me, or especially my wife tells me that she likes me. But the other point is that I agree with you guys. There's a lot of great talent out there that nobody's ever heard of. I mean, I've worked in theaters, around the country with people that nobody's ever heard of, and they're as good as I've seen in New York or California or anywhere. So, in a sense, that guy, none of those people have that ego, I think. But the truth is, there's a tremendous amount, too many actors in California that are good. I mean, really good. Not to mention, across the country. So there is some. There's some sympathy to be had for that guy.
Well, you know what it is? Before the pandemic, whenever I see all these delusional people with their laptops working on screenplays, but one of them has to be legit. Once in a while, it's J.J. Abrams or something. But, I remember I wrote on Seinfeld for a season in 94, 95. And I remember I was in a bookstore trying out my idea with my friend. I go, how about this in my thing where Kramer comes over and people are just shaking their head, another delusional schmuck. But I was really writing a Seinfeld episode, mapping it out. So, once in a while it's real, but most of the time, because everyone was writing a Seinfeld spec script. And how about Kramer then doesn't like the suit? And maybe, is that good? I'm asking my friend, and people going, another delusional schmuck, but it was a real episode.
I love that episode.
It was actually one of them I wrote was about Florida, where when I was a kid, these grown men, they were probably 18, were throwing rocks at the monkeys. And the woman who works there goes, what are you throwing rocks at monkeys for? And I remember the guy goes, they started it. So then I told it to Larry David, you should have to apologize to the monkey. And it's so.
What a great experience that must have been. That must have been so much fun. What a great experience.
Crazy.
That is the only show I could actually sit down and actually cry laughing and watching. There's a lot of shows I just watch. I don't laugh at a lot of things. Even writing jokes and doing comedy, you just don't laugh. But that show literally makes me cry because, again, just like I said earlier with you, Fred, it's character driven. It's not just the material; it's character driven.
Well, yeah, that was one of the few shows where they did a table read, and the script didn't change too much because they didn't punch it up. A lot of shows like Friends, they do a take and huddle for a half hour and punch it up. Seinfeld was very situational. Yeah, so it wasn't, let's think of a snappier joke. So
I did an episode of Curb, and turns out the famous Seinfeld episode with touching all the fruit. Well, my father's buddy growing up, he owned the fruit stand. So I see him a day before I'm getting on the set, and the guy says to me, Joe Riz is his name. He goes, you tell that Larry David I said hello. What a jerk off he was, touching the fruit all the time. So I get to the set, and I say, hey, Larry, friend of the family, Joe Rizza. And he starts cursing at me, Larry David. We shot it in the city. He starts yelling at me. Oh, that guy was an he's screaming. And all the crew's looking at me like, what did that jackass actor say to Larry? And right after that, he goes, yeah, but I love Joe. He was a good guy. Tell him I said hello. I was like, oh, my God. It was nuts. Can't believe
what makes me laugh out loud? Triumph. All the Robert Smigel stuff.
Yeah.
He's on. I don't mean he's underrated, but people, that stuff cracks me up.
I don't laugh at a lot of people too, and even with comics, like Robert Schimmel was a guy that used to make me laugh hard, and so does Dave Attell. Both people that kind of do dick jokes in a clever way. I kind of like that. That's my childhood humor kind of thing, growing up from Brooklyn. What about you? What makes you laugh, Stuart?
This show, no.
That's a good question. Lots of times it's not jokes, although some jokes. There are three people in my life that have made me fall down laughing. One is my wife. One is my dear friend who is no longer with us, Joe Riley, and the other was John Ritter when we worked together a few times, and doubled over. That kind of stuff makes me laugh. I don't laugh a lot at jokes, but it's situational humor, character-driven humor. That's what turns me on.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that too, because that character. See, I'm a ventriloquist by trade, so I constantly think about character-driven humor, and I remember when I think it was when the Cosby Show began. He hired everyone in that room, and he said to them, when you sit down and write for this show, if you write jokes, you're fired. He wanted everything that the character said to be funny, not to set up and punch it. And I love set up and punch, by the way. As a ventriloquist, you have to do set up and punch. It's dialogue between two people, but it sounds to it like you like physical comedy.
Um, I don't know how to answer that. Some physical, I mean, it's not a big general swath, but if somebody like Peter Sellers, when he does physical comedy, that's fabulous. When some of these other people do, when John really used to do physical comedy, it was terrific. But then you get guys who think they can do it and they can't do it as well. I mean, so yeah, good physical. It's like anything. Like if somebody says, "Do you like steak?" I say, "Well, I like a good steak, good physical comedy, yeah, a good joke, yeah, a good situational comedy or character-driven comedy, yeah." But it's just such a broad range of things people are doing in the entertainment industry today. So you gotta, if it's good, I'll laugh. And it's a personal taste. I mean, I'm not saying that my taste is better than anybody else's. I'm just saying that there are certain things that make me laugh, certain things that other people. I've been in movies when I've heard people laugh at things that I wouldn't scrape off the bottom of my shoe. But that's but it's a personal taste thing.
Clearly a personal taste thing. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, what about you, Fred? Now, your comedy is, like I said earlier, it's character driven to me, and it's really one-two punchy kind of humor. What makes you laugh?
No, it doesn't make me laugh. I saw The Hangover. The audience was roaring. I did not relate to it. I don't have buddies. Hey, we're going to Vegas, and hey, we had a bender. I don't relate to.
Well, Fred, you have to have friends to appreciate that movie, Fred. And if you don't have friends,
that's the thing I didn't have. Yes,
he's screwing with you again.
Something. To me, I have a weird taste of comedy because I grew up loving 70s movies like Dog Day Afternoon and Cuckoo's Nest. And to me, The Graduate, those were comedies, even Dog Day Afternoon, because character, but it's desperate characters with real stuff going on. Like, I'll laugh more at something weird and Breaking Bad than a comedy show. I just love when it's so perverse, so twisted what Walt would do, or, you know what I mean? Like in Dog Day Afternoon, when Pacino answers for WNEW, plays all the hits, the audience roared. So, I mean, I don't love the big Will Ferrell kind of broad. I mean, I like, things that make me, so I'm more just that little dramatic relief. But lately, like I said, Triumph, where it's just so stupid. I mean,
hey, Fred, I think your cat is very funny.
And he's fat.
That's interesting. In college, I had a director who became a dear friend, and I loved him. And he helped get me in the show business. And we were doing plays, all kinds of plays. And all of a sudden, you'd hear in the audience, and it wasn't funny. I mean, there was not a comedy moment, but all the time, hopefully, you'd hear. And he just reacted to something that he liked, dramatic or not dramatic. It sort of bubbled up in him that he liked it, and that's how he expressed himself. And necessarily, like Fred, you don't necessarily have to scream at something, but if you appreciate something, that's just as valid.
Oh yeah, I grew up, like I said, I used to love a guy who became friends with, who died, from Jack Riley, Mr. Carlin from the Bob Newhart show. That's my kind of style. Just kind of characters like that. I grew up loving character actors. I wanted to be one. So
guys, we only have a minute left. So Fred, where do we get Fred Stoller at? Where do we see you, or what's coming up very quickly, or a website we see right here? Oh, there you go. We have Fred at Fred _Stoller.
Facebook or Twitter. I got a few cameos to do. Are any of you on Cameo?
Sure.
Stuart? Yeah.
We could get you right there on Cameo. Go to your website.
Just Instagram. There's like a tree with different stuff.
Excellent.
Find me on.
Okay, thank you. And Stuart, where can we get you from?
I don't have any of that other stuff.
Right there.
But IMDb, if you want to see what I'm doing, go to IMDb.
IMDb. And also, how about you as well, Jimmy?
JimmyPalumbo.com, Facebook, Instagram. I'm on all that.
That's great. And I'm at
JimmyPalumbo.com. That's all I was thinking about that.
And I'm at johnpizzi.com, Pizzi. You guys are a pleasure. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. You guys are awesome.
Thank you very much. Nice to see
Good
everybody.
seeing you. Good meeting everybody.
Take care. Thank you so much, and stay well and healthy.